is you're going to from this direction.
Like, it'll turn on, but it'll just be like white with a little apple and just like keep going and going and going. And I tried to like turn it off again, it was like, and I tried restarting my computer, so I rebooted the entire thing, and then it just keeps happening. And then I'll try to take the Apple Store.
Beer though.
That's alright.
Alright.
My boyfriend's pretty good with math, like we tried to do it, he's pretty good, or it was just like, I don't know. Yeah, like, it takes
Things because it's not. It doesn't hold a whole lot. I'm starting to realize.
Moisture regain. How much moisture does rubber taste like Exactly. Moisture regain is how much moisture the fiber, fabric, material, textile takes back. On my face.
Yeah, that'll work. Yeah. So whenever you're ready.
There's been 2,600 slayings or murders absent the 394 that were shot by police. So you're going to have a decent city and you're going to be able to encourage businesses to come in. We don't have in the inner city places like this. You know, a nice bar or club where you can come and sit down and relax because of the violence and the people are frightened. So I put together a plan where we spend $40,000 a year to keep a person in prison. Why can't we just give them a job and keep them out? There we go. Most of them need jobs, you know? So you can give them a job for $20,000, $15,000, $18,000. They're entry-level people, and they would be happy. They really, really would, you know? So what we're going to do is give them a job, controlling their community, establishing a relationship with the police. You know, there has to be a relationship and a trust between community and police. So, and that's why I'm running for mayor. I'm going to do that. Second reason why I'm running for mayor is I don't think the mayor's office should be purchased by some outsiders who own a lot of money or some hedge club up on City Avenue. I mean, they give Williams $5 million. I mean, $200,000 could be a campaign contribution. Maybe even $500,000 could be a campaign contribution. But $5 million to purchase. That's a purchase. That's no campaign contribution. And when if he were to become mayor, then we would have some suburban hedge fund people running the city. Now, would that be bad? I don't know. But I know it would be good for where I live. You know, it may be good for some people, but it would be terrible. They're going to, these people want school vouchers and some other stuff, rather than just funding the public schools. So that's the reason why I'm running. I think we can bring it into this violence. We'll be able to do a lot more in the city and encourage a lot more businesses into the city. Anybody have another question?
Why should people here vote for you? Why should people vote for you?
Oh, I said, why should people vote for me? Because I'm the best candidate. You know, that's what I think, right? I think that, you know, you can't run the city if you have a value system that doesn't include the entire city. If you have a value system that doesn't include Center City or one part of the city, you can't really run the city. Secondly, we have to create opportunity for people who are entry level. Everybody doesn't have an education. People dropped out of high school. We have a 50% high school dropout. And people do vending, and they do sell T-shirts, and every administration I know just about chases them off the street. You want to have, you know, but there is a way you can allow people to earn money without running them off the street.
Anybody have Questions? Ask away.
Don't be shy,
What's
guys.
your plan for the schools?
Oh, the plan for the schools, let me be really honest with you guys on the school. Let me be really honest.
Please do.
We have 75,000 black students, 25,000 Hispanics, and 19,000 Caucasians, and the rest are either preschool or so forth. So what we have is a minority school district. You know, minorities don't own real estate, and a lot of them are unemployed. So what we have to do with the following letter is raise your taxes to educate some poor black kids. Nobody want to do that. You know, I mean, if you want to be honest, if I were you, I'd tell you, let the black people educate their own students. Why should we educate them? I mean, and that's what most people think, but most people don't have enough balls to say that. You know, so what we have to do is have, there's two types of taxes. There's a direct and an indirect. You know, we have an indirect tax on gas. If you don't want to pay for gas, ride a bike or a skateboard or walk. So you don't have to pay that tax. So we can have games of choice, okay? Independent, where everybody would play, but the money would be dedicated to the school district. But you can decide whether you wanted to play. In the lottery, senior citizens get $1 billion a year from the lottery. Why can't you have a lottery that funds the schools? Why can't you do that? Then you don't have to raise anybody's taxes. Everybody's going to gamble. You know, we just had a piece of legislation, I don't know if you know about it or not, in Harrisburg, where clubs and bars like yourself can now do chances, games of choice and whatnot. I have copies of that. Well, what we should have had attached to that is maybe even video poker. So you could have poker machines, and put 6,000, 7,000 poker machines around, put them at the airport, put them in beauty shops, put them in bars, dedicate all that money to the school. I had Bowie's do a study. If we were to do that, we'd raise over $500 million on the low side right away, just by putting poker machines in clubs and bars and churches. You know?
I go to church now. More people going to church.
You know? Everybody go to church then, right? You know? So, but really, we have to have an independent fund source. I will never ask somebody else to go out, work hard, take care of your family, and then get taxed to educate somebody else's children.
Question for you, sir. What are your thoughts on charter schools taking public funds away from public schools?
You know, the charter, you know, that's what the billionaires up on, that's why they purchased Senator Williams. You know, Senator Williams to do charter schools. All right? Now, what that does is, that's actually the triage theory. Okay? So they go into they look at the school district and they say, well, 50% of these kids drop out anyhow. So we're going to take the 50% that may want to learn and that may have a possibility, put them in the charter schools, and we're going to build some prisons for the rest of them. You know, so that when they drop out of school, they're going to go commit a crime, and then we'll put them in prison. We're building a $400 million prison, $450 million prison right now. So you have 48% of all the people in the correctional system in Pennsylvania, 48% is black, I think it's about 8 or 9% is Hispanic. So you have almost 60% of the incarcerated in the state of Pennsylvania is minority. Okay? So and it costs $40,000 a year to keep them in there. So we have to go to a public educational system that has quality education across the board. And the way we do that is we have to go to some type of indirect tax reform. You know? And why don't we, we could decriminalize and legalize sports betting and dedicate it to all the profits to sports. You know, there are just a lot of things that we could do other than tax people. You know, well, if we want to tax something, we'll tax all the churches. We raise a lot of money. They all got a 401k. You know, they don't pay taxes at all. You know. but that wouldn't be smart. You know, you get a rebellion, you wouldn't get anything, you know? I don't know. But anybody else, like charter schools? I would put a moratorium on charter schools. I put a moratorium on them. I wouldn't disassemble those who had, the ones we have. You know, Senator Williams talks about charter schools. He had a charter school and he couldn't manage it. 800 students, it went under. You know, if the students perform below No Child Left Behind benchmark. You know, so charter schools aren't doing any better than public schools. You have Masterman, you have Girls High. You got some good public schools in the city of Philadelphia. You know, we just need money to make the whole system good schools. But before you're going to make the whole system good school, you have to stop the violence in schools. You know, to change the conversation. That's one of the things that I plan to do in my opinion. Anybody else have a question? I'm on the roll here.
No more questions.
Way to go.
There's a lot of abandoned properties usually owned by somebody who doesn't live here, and you can't force sale, you can't tear them down. What can we do about that?
Why can't you? Let me tell you what I do with it. Every time I talk to the city about vacant houses like this happened, they say, well, we can't do anything because we can't find the owners. I said, why the hell are you looking for them? Let's move somebody in, let the owners find us. You know, that is easy to do and you don't have to infringe upon property rights. Let me tell you what I did when I was in the Senate. To deal with the vacant houses, I moved people into the houses. I gave them a lease. I signed the lease and I put an addendum on the lease. And I said, you have to keep a record of every dime you spend repairing this house or fixing this house up. When the owner came back, he said, what right did you have to move somebody in my house? I said, what right did you have to walk off and leave it so that you could depreciate the value of everybody else who's trying to keep their house up? I said, you didn't have any right to do that. Well, I'm going to put your people out. I said, well, I'll meet you in room 176, okay, 196 downstairs.